Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy, what is it today? Thursday? Wow, this week is flying by. It's crazy how fast time flies when you get some really crappy trading conditions. I'm just kidding. But I'm actually kind of not. Anyways, what we're looking at here is obviously a Bitcoin analysis. I'm going to touch on what we see here, of course, this magneticism towards specific ranges. We got this $24,000 range there where we're going to see a liquidity hunt potentially again. Then, of course, this CME gap between 27 and 27.5. Again, I send these updates pretty consistently, again, to my community members there, but this is available through Twitter as well as Telegram if you're curious on kind of what that looks like as far as just generally understanding this explanation here, right? Again, those are just things I like to keep you guys abreast on. Obviously, make sure you know specifically what is going on with Bitcoin at most times. And at this point right now, we're seeing this gravitational pull towards either side. And once again, we are somewhat range bound as well here in this range between low 25,800 upwards of about 26.5. Okay, so again, those are some round numbers. Obviously, there's a little bit more specific details there, but that's just generally what we're looking at here. Okay, so cool stuff there. I want to start with some celebration as well because you got to celebrate the small stuff in these type of situations here. And just to kind of touch on it here, we took some nice profit there from Bitcoin, good 17% on a 5x leverage trade in roughly 2 days. And same thing with Ethereum Classic at about 12.5%. And furthermore, last night, this is nice. This happened when I was sleeping, of course, but Litecoin, we took a little 9% scalp there to the downside for a short and a nice little 18% long from Blur. Okay, so cool thing about these is that they are fully automated. You don't have to really do much at all, just completely hands off. You decide you want to auto follow. Once again, that is available through my premium membership, and you can register for that at any given time. We do have a summer promotion right now, summer sale 23. Link down below if you're curious about that. That'll lock in your rate for premium and premium plus. All right, so Bitcoin, simply put, minus all these fun little things on the chart here, what are we really looking at here? Well, let's get down to the brass tacks. We'll talk about the bigger picture and that we are having a bearish engulfing candle here so far today. Now, it was expected for the price to reject close to the 27,000 range. We wicked up to 26,800, so that's awesome in a way, depending on how you played that, of course. If you didn't take any profit, I'm sorry. All those profits are washed away, but that's pretty much par for the course right now. Anything that goes up must come down to fill itself. That's kind of how we're seeing in the market right now. It's a very greedy market, and unfortunately, with these tight ranges, you're going to expect nothing less. Okay, so again, we're fairly range bound. So lowest case point and case scenario here for the most recent time frame, the last 7 days, just say for example, we've seen 25,300, a large wick down that was honestly not even that crazy. It was just kind of weird that the price just wicked down there and came right back up like it didn't even happen. We had effectively a doji candle close there, and then of course followed by a bullish engulfing candle. Then we see 26,800 touched last night, and here today we're back down to par for the course, 26,100 roughly. Good news is 26.1, if you a little easier to see on smaller time frames, is a strong support range. Okay, again, this is based on most recent data. Obviously, the only last 7 days of trading, but generally speaking, you see a tremendous amount of volume at 26,100, or really just between 26.1 and 26 even. So that tells us that we have a volume support. Price peak in that range right now, we could experience a bounce. Now, there's no guarantees it's going to bounce, but there's a strong inclination that should hold as a support just based on that, again, that gravitational pull towards that center line, okay? All right, so that's kind of where we're at there in the overall sense. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about high block capital data here and kind of work our way down. We can see there's a tremendous amount of liquidation data. Once again, about 24,800. So if we do get that wick even further down to that 24,000 range, we'll see a large amount of just straight up liquidity. All right, a big old liquidation again at that level. We've seen that before, of course, but it'll be even harder right now because most folks are leveraging their longs with a stop loss in that range of 24,000, and that could hit a lot of the the 10 and 20x leverage trades right now. Okay? Again, liquidation levels are aggressive the higher amount of liquidation leverage used. So all the more reason to not use high leverage and smaller position sizing to ensure that you are being safer in this environment, right? So I get to see a lot of folks, sharing their 50x, 100x, 150x trades. And that's all well and good, but they're not sharing with you the trades that go south until they get that one good trade. Because again, the more leverage you use, the tighter the margin, the faster your liquidation is going to occur, and it's just not really an ideal situation. So please be careful and for lack of better terms, avoid cross leverage too if you're using those kind of trades. Conversation for another day. Anyways, I just hate to see people get wrecked, and I get a lot of members coming over to our community because of that. While it's all nice that I can be able to help you out, it's unfortunate that you got wrecked in a lot of ways just because you're seeing examples of falsehood in the online environment, right? So just some friendly advice. Okay. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk here about liquidation levels. We saw a significant amount of shorts getting liquidated yesterday, which is kind of nice for a change because once again, longs got blasted on last Thursday. We can see here today so far, more longs than shorts getting liquidated. Big surprise, the price came down by about 500-600. We can also see that we are seeing a large amount of delta here for the average amount of top traders using leverage. So that's very consistent there, of course. We can see we have less long positions today and yesterday. Generally speaking, more long positions are getting closed. And then, of course, we see this large influx here of short positions. So these are the amount of short positions being open versus closed. So it makes sense that the price is dropping. And, of course, we're seeing that kind of reflected there. We can also see fear and greed index is still extremely low, all things considered. We need to be in the 48 or higher range to be able to be kind of back in good standings. We're slowly increasing, but once again, that little reset button today didn't help much at all. Taking a look, of course, at the open interest. Let's see what's going on here for our longs and see where they have leveraged the most. Longs are underwater at 26,500. We got some late longs coming in the market, but for the most part, most longs, again, these are late longs. I don't know why you do this, but people jump into the market as soon as it starts to shift direction, and it's important to avoid that at all costs. Not saying you necessarily want to short at that level. In hindsight, it would have been a good idea, of course, but generally speaking, you want to wait for confirmation, and a little jump outside of a range is not confirmation enough. You need to close at least a day or two in that range to be in pretty good shape, and we didn't see that. That pretty much instantly closed out today here so far once the market opened, right? So again, just keep that in mind. Not the greatest conditions to be being a late long or a late short. Like right now, you probably don't want to be a late short either because the price action may bounce and continue higher. We'll find out here in a minute, but generally speaking, that's where we're at. And take a look at this here. A lot of shorts right at the level of about 26,550. That's a case in point where you want to get in. Again, hindsight's 20/20, but when you see the price overextended, breaking free from a range, it's important to kind of consider going the opposite direction because these breakout traders are getting demolished. So do not be a breakout trader right now. It's not the right environment for it. We need to have an established uptrend or downtrend for that. And right now, we're kind of stuck on stupid, as I like to call it. And it's not really an ideal breakout scenario. So again, avoid breakout trading at all costs if you can. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Let's go ahead and just talk about traditional indicators and work our way down and call it a day. So take a look here at the daily. We can see, of course, we're below all three moving averages. It's pretty standard stuff, but just note that the 200-day SMA is averaging itself out about 27,400. That's a key level resistance. That's that zone I was talking about as far as the CME gap between 27 and 27.5. So to me, a premium short position would be at about 27,500. That seems like an appropriate level to short. Once again, we want to reevaluate when we get there, but generally speaking, that could be a place in which we're going to see some resistance and that gravitational pull towards it, but then again, the instant rejection initially off of it. Taking a look at the MACD, we can see we're losing momentum again to the downside, of course, based on yesterday's trading conditions. And of course, we can see here a rejection closer to 30 on the RSI. This happens as well. I mean, I talk about this all the time when you break through 70 on the RSI and bullish trends, and the price comes down and bounce and continues further up, and you don't expect it to. That's a case in point where we're seeing the opposite here. Price is finally coming back to normal. Instead, we hit the reset button and bears are still in control. So please understand, we're not in a bullish environment. Yes, yesterday we looked really nice, that little breakout, but it needs to be able to continue to sustain itself for a few days in order for us to be able to understand that that's a good thing, right? A lot of times you want to look at weekly high, low, open, and closes, and right now all of those are pretty much predated up in the 29,000 range. So again, we're below all those resistance levels, so it's really hard to anticipate what's going to happen next because those levels aren't even close to where we're at right now. It doesn't mean we're going to see 29,000 retested because of it. It simply means that those are some resistance levels we got to be aware of later. So 4-hour time frame, we want to kind of identify a couple things here. Just to quickly note, on the 4-hour, we're below 50 on the RSI. MACD is starting to diverge, which makes sense. We've been kind of sideways this whole time. And I know it seems strange, like why is the MACD diverging when we had this nice little strong uptrend? Well, truth be told, when you're range bound for so long, the MACD gives you false positives. Not the most ideal indicator for that scenario. I prefer to use the RSI, and with us being under 50, it makes total sense that we are kind of on this bearish side of things. So I'd expect today to be fairly just straight, fairly sideways, and for us to kind of close closer to that 26,100 mark. I don't expect a breakout in either direction today, just based on that volume profile being so strong right there at the 26.1 range. Hourly, let's go ahead and see here. We did have a breakout. We are looking to retest the cloud here and conversion lines below the baseline. Now, this is all shifting bearish. Now, we haven't officially broken below the cloud, but it seems pretty likely, again, to see a candlestick closure today at 26,000 or lower should imply we have further downside potential, because once again, we're below that moving average for the cloud. Lagging span's not free and clear at all. It will be hopefully here soon. And then the conversion lines below the baseline implying that we have that downward momentum. So we have 2 out of 3 indications right now, and within a couple of hours, we'll probably have a third confirmation letting us know bearish behavior, okay? Again, this is a lagging, more conservative indicator. It's not ideal in range-bound conditions, which we're kind of in if you exclude the last break up and break down. So truth be told, I wouldn't rely on this too heavily. What I would rely on is the daily and the 4-hour, more so the macro behavior. And for right now, we're not seeing a lot of signs or confirmational signs that we're due for a breakout. I would anticipate the price to retest 27,000 or 24,000, as I mentioned initially, just to kind of give us that position where the price action comes up and essentially will reject in one way or the other. I'm hoping for 24,000 just so we can average our price down. Honestly, I'd have some limit orders in the 24.5 range just to ensure that we get filled if the price comes down lower. But once more, we could very well see that never even tested, and just the price going up to retest the 27,000 first. Again, just some things to kind of think about, but either way, that's what we're looking at there. I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. If you want to become part of something greater, cryptocash.tech is the link down below. Please help us grow our Discord, Twitter, and Telegram communities, all linked down below. And also, of course, make sure to use BingX Exchange as well. That's a good exchange with no leverage, no KYC here in the US, and is the reason I partnered with them, because they help our community with some kind of options. Because once again, unfortunately, KYC requirements are coming down pretty hard. What BIT gets at the end of next month, KuCoin at the end of this month, prepare yourself. It's going to happen no matter how you look at it. And if you're in a country that you're not able to KYC, BingX has got you covered. Link down below for exclusive benefits and trading competitions. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thanks again for your time.